So as you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Kreitz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. You're watching season 4, episode 1 of The Horizon, and I'm here with my co-host David Tagway and a team of panelists, Mr. Bobby Mitchell Crawford, Mr. Sheriff, Mr. Boda, and Mr. Jai Winkin. Let's get right into our conversation for the night, beginning with the U.S. government wanting full access to our polling stations and for talent. As we know, elections is, if I'm not mistaken, 33 days away. So before I come to our panelists, I will come to you, Mr. Tagway, to give us more development on that, and then I'll have our panelists talk more about that.
Yes. As you follow the news from Liberia, following the expiration of the tenure of the former U.S. ambassador, the United States has not renamed or sent a new ambassador, even though they named him, but he hasn't arrived. But in the meantime, the Chargé d'Affaires, Christina Rodriguez, arrived in the country quite recently, and she just met with the Liberian media, members of the Liberian media, about her duties here. And because her coming has coincided with the electoral process in Liberia, and so she was speaking about the ongoing process. As you know, the campaign is heating up, or the candidates are traveling across the country and campaigning. And I guess her statement came following the Sierra Leone elections, where there were a lot of concerns about vote rigging, about harassment of voters, about so many other undemocratic acts in the Sierra Leone process. So she's advising the Liberian people, particularly the government and the National Elections Commission, to ensure that the coming electoral process or the coming October 10 elections will be free, fair, and free of violence, and that all Liberians should refrain from the acts of violence, to ensure that the country remains stable, to ensure that we have the elections without any faults, we have the elections without, and then concerns about people being wounded or votes being rigged by the sitting government. So she was very clear on that, and that those anyone who tries to sabotage or disrupt the peaceful process will face the consequences. She was not clear on that, but will face the consequences. Anyone who tries to disrupt the electoral process will face the consequences. So that's what she said anyway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tagway. Now let me bring this over to our panelists, beginning with you, Mr. Sheriff. The U.S. wanting full access to our polling places and voters tallying. First of all, why? Why are they? Is this like a regular process for the U.S. to request full access to our polling station, and also does it show Well, let me give you the opportunity to first talk to us about this press statement from the U.S. Embassy, Mr. Sheriff. You're muted again.
Sorry, I muted myself. You can hear me
Go
now?
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I read the communication from Catherine Rodriguez, who is the Charge d'Affaires at the Liberian at the U.S. Embassy in Liberia, and actually she did talk about things that in any democracy that people will look up to: free, fair, and transparent election free of intimidation, election free of harassment, and those are things that the election commission, especially this government, is making sure that happen. She talked about the government providing the enough resources, spending enough money, pumping enough money into the electoral processes, so there can be no kind of Liberian say hala hala. That the government is doing her part, but there's nowhere in the communique that I saw where she stated that they want full access to everything. No, Liberia is an independent state, an independent country. We have an election commission that is there. They are fully committed to conducting free, fair, and transparent election. That is our hope. And we believe as a government, as people of Liberia, that they will live up to that expectation, because that is the expectation of all Liberians, especially all well-meaning Liberians. We want to see a free, fair, and transparent election, free of harassment, free of intimidation. That is our position as a political party, CDC. In terms of the election commission's role, we can speak to that. All we can speak to as a party, as a ruling party, we will play according to the rules of the game. That is, we will do everything within the confines of the electoral law of Liberia. We're not going to do anything that will contravene the electoral laws of Liberia. So the party CDC, from the party's perspective, will respect every single aspect of the electoral laws of the country. Anything that has to do with the election commission, that they can answer that question. But I'm speaking from the party's perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. You made a very specific statement that I would like to come back on, but let me get the panelist position on this press statement coming out of the U.S. Embassy in Liberia.
Mr. Sheriff,
I'm sorry.
I said I wanted to ask Mr. Sheriff a question.
I do too, but can we get the other panelists position first?
No, it's okay. That David asked. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
We are running on time. I don't want to not get everyone opening statement on the discussion before I start asking questions. That's why. But I'll give you a minute and 30 seconds, Mr. Boulder. Give us your take on this discussion. We'll come back to you, Mr. Sheriff.
Sure.
I think it's a good idea. The American embassy coming in to use a heavy hand on the Liberian government is in place, because the government in itself had never proven to be responsible to conduct a clear elections, because the behavior does not state or show that they're going to do credible things. So it must seem as an overreach by the United States government or the State Department to Liberia. But we might welcome an idea that we need some measure to be able to control our electoral system. Because the government, the CDC government, has not distinguished itself being a government and being a party. Because in the first place, they are using government funds to run their campaign, which is totally wrong. They are not told the Liberian people where all of their funds coming from to run this election for their party. So that is a fraud within the electoral system. And the Election Commission is not asking any questions in regards to that. So I think we need some measure that the American government can come in and give us a hands to help our people, even though our people are going to vote the way they want to vote, but let us have the system done and clearly that people can see and monitor it, so that all the opposition party will have a clear opportunity to participate in the process as it should be.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Boda. Now let me take you, Reverend Addy. Give us your take on this discussion.
Well, I think the U.S. official is on point, and she's on point because there are observations concerning upholding the tenets of democracy by this government that is in power. So yes, we need total transparency, something that we've had challenge with from the genesis of the using of the BVR, where people weren't adequately being registered, where they claimed to have machines in different areas, but they were breaking down in Lofi and parts of Nimba, where we saw trucking from one point to another. So yes, that observation is quite legitimate. I know Mr. Sheriff stated that we are an independent nation, but the last time I checked, this independent nation is highly, highly supported by this government that asking for a transparency in our elections. So make no mistake, as a nation, the credibility issue is at stake for this government's inability to finance the election commission properly. Quite frankly, we've seen the election commission put up flyers of our incumbent president, George Weah, and we've seen a lot of things that are inconsistent. The lack of people leaving their positions, and they're participating in campaign in violation of the laws. So let's be very clear, when we are advocating for sovereignty and independence, make no mistake, we know that those things have already been violated in keeping with the electoral laws of Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Adi. Now let's take you, Mr. Jawinkin Wea. Give us your take on this discussion.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Before I talk about the U.S. Position, I'd like to first of all react to Mr. Sheriff regarding the statement he made that this government is committed to the security and transparency of the country. For instance, the rally they had today is an example. For each time the whole rally in Liberia, Monrovia is locked down, businesses are closed, people don't go anywhere. That is no respect of the right of the people. And as Mr. Boda said, there is no way to distinguish the Wea government and the CDC party. They pay children, they give them money, they buy them shirts, and they lock down the whole country. Businesses are losing money as a result of that. The last time I was there, it was one Saturday. Sunday, I should have meant Mr. Anderson was able to go for a lunch on 12th Street. I spent 3 hours at the Freeport. They locked down the place. They cost people. For each time they drive on the highway, they hang on cars. They disrupt anybody who talks anything. They tend to fight people. I see that as an intimidation as well. It is not just interfering. So I disagree with Mr. Sharif that this government is really off of security of everybody, because the attitude of the party and the government is not, you cannot distinguish that. They disrupt activities. Businesses are losing money for each time they lock down the whole city. If any political party leader were to do that, well, they're going to send security forces to disrupt their process. And that is very wrong. So I disagree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin Wea. The Lord Mayor of Bentoro, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Give us your take.
I welcome our friends, the United States government, asking Liberia so that they can get involved in these elections. They have a stake in it. America, our partner in progress, when we have an ugly situation, they restructure the AFL, the peace that we enjoy today, they are one of the principal architects. They have been our partner in progress for years. It's kind of funny though, it's not counterintuitive. When you go to them for financial assistance, you don't talk about your assistance, you don't talk about your sovereignty, right? But when it comes to protecting the integrity of our election, of which the United States has a stake in it, that's the time you talk about sovereignty, your laws, and all of that. When you have budgetary constraint and budgetary shortfalls, you run to the United States government. But when it comes to protecting the people's vote, now you talk about sovereignty. The CDC government is like a wounded lion. So they know for a fact, if George Weah don't win this election, he's going to be prosecuted for extrajudicial killing. He's going to be prosecuted for the rampant corruption he and his people have been engaging for